and this is the area that she's probably located in. And so Leon, you know, we're done with all these zombies and stuff, because you're actually in a normal,
an uninfected area
habitat. And so these two regular police officers drop Leon off.
Yeah, the Interpol officers.
Yeah, and then, you know, the first thing you go and do is you make your way to this cabin. You know, just a normal cabin. You know, I thought it was, you know, maybe someone here can help me. I wasn't expecting...
Maybe get some milk and cookies, you know.
Exactly. So you go into the cabin, you make your turn around the hall, and here's this random guy. He doesn't look that bad, and he's putting wood in the fire, you know.
Oh, how nice. He built the fire for me, huh?
Yeah.
I'm a little chilly. Maybe I'll sit there, have some cocoa.
So Leon, you know, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to ask the guy have you seen this girl? And...
Of course, he doesn't speak Spanish, so the guy's like, the fuck?
And so the guy, and I actually found the translate for it, the guy actually tells Leon to go straight to hell. And
nice.
so he picks up the axe, and Leon's like, whatever, and then the guy's like, ah, and Leon does his mad skills, and he's like, I'm gonna shoot you. And so he ends up killing the guy, and of course when you make a description on him, it says it's not like any other zombie I've ever seen. And you continue through, and you discover there's some other people that are like this, and they set traps and things like that. And after killing them, you go through these metal doors, and you find yourself in a village. And you zoom into the village by looking in, seeing, and you discover these people are like, they seem normal. It's like a third world European village. Women are taking care of the chickens, and you got your farmer Brown, and they're doing like what normal European third world Black Plague stuff was going on.
Yeah, it looked like Europe.
And then you get into the village, they stop doing everything they're doing. It's like, oh, kill the American, and
kill the infidel. Exactly.
And so determining on what you're doing,
you go. Everybody starts like bum rushing you.
Yeah, but like if you go into like the biggest house in the village, it triggers a cutscene, which ends up bringing like. This is the reason why we're not having zombies anymore. People have evolved because we got pickaxes, scythes, and even a guy with a potato sack on his head carrying a chainsaw.
God, that was the biggest. Since this is my, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, this was the first game of Resident Evil I ever played. And when that guy came jumping at you, you don't know what to do. You like deuce yourself, and you start just shooting blindly.
Exactly, and then like you try to make yourself safe by putting like shelves, behind the door, or windows, and stuff like that.
But then he ends up sticking the chainsaw through the door, and then coming in and cutting your head off.
And then you make your way upstairs. You find yourself a shotgun, but yet he's still after you. And this little brutal fight in the village between him, the villagers, and Leon will go on. It actually has a time set, because you'll know when it's over, because the church bell will ring and the villagers will stop whatever they're doing, drop their weapons, and randomly say, Lord Sadler, Lord Sadler, and then they'll...
Time for church!
Time for church. And of course, Leon, being the cocky son of a bitch he is saying, where's everyone going? Bingo. And then we got our title screen, Resident Evil 4.
Oh, but in between the time Leon gets out of the truck with a Jeep with those smart-ass Interpol officers to the time where he gets to the village, the officers that he was riding with were killed, gutted, and put onto...
like the stakes
over a fire.
That was the odd thing in the village, because in the middle of the village you saw the one like burning there. But so anyways, you're continuing through the village, and you're making your way. All this other shit that's going on.
Collecting treasures, shooting people.
You're collecting treasures, shooting people, till you find yourself to another cabin in the woods, and you go into this cabin to find someone that somewhat helps you throughout one part of the game, which his name is Louis, or
Yep.
Luis, and
all this time, you're being watched by this glasses chick, getting orders from the government saying, "Hey, do this, do that."
Yeah, that's Hunnigan, by the way.
That's it. She's a part in the next couple games,
right? And so, anyways, and then you discover you end up seeing even the chief of the village,
the big cheese.
Yeah, the big cheese. And I can't think of his name right offhand, but anyways, eventually they inject you with the virus, or the Lost Plagas as they call it, but Leon doesn't know it, but he has a feeling, and eventually you wake up tied to Louis, and Louis tells you some backstory of what's going on, and then Leon talks about how the time he was only a cop for a day, and after that, after almost getting killed by a villager, who pretty much cuts the rope for you, and you escape. So anyways, you continue through the game until you get to the Big Cheese's house, and he attacks you, but then a woman in red saves you, which we discover later on to be Ada Wong. So she never died, and you discover that Wesker brings her back to full health, because this doesn't happen in the GameCube version, but in the PS2, PC, and Wii versions, there's, after being the main game once, you actually get to play as Ada and see how she's gone through it. But anyways, after getting saved by Ada, Leon continues, and he makes his way to the church. And so he finds out he can't go to the church just yet, and he's like, well, I guess I'll take the scenic route. Maybe I might find some answers. So you're going through all the scenic route, and in the whole way you fight a bunch of villagers, and then you eventually get to the first boss, which is a giant fish that's in the lake. And then after defeating that, the virus that's inside of Leon starts getting a little bit powerful and causes him to pass out for about 6 hours. And of course you wake up in the cabin that you passed out in, and it's night and it's raining, and eventually you find the symbol or key for the church. And then so anywho, on your way there you end up fighting another boss, which is the El Gigante, a giant. It's pretty much a giant. And so you're fighting the giant, and after that, after you kill him, you make your way back to the church, and once you're inside the church, that's where you discovered that's where they hold the president's daughter captured. And after saving Ashley from the church, you and Ashley escape by getting out of the village, area, and then making your way to this one cabin where you meet up with Lewis again. He helps you fight off a bunch of villagers, and then you keep on going. Eventually you end up fighting the chief of the village, and you discovered he's surpassed mutation, because he has like he turns into like this centipede thing. And then after killing the chief, you get a key, pretty much his eye, but you get that, and then he turns into a or never mind. But you go to the door, and then you discover you're about to leave the village area, and there's a castle. And so now you go into the castle, and you discover there's a new threat for a while, known as his name is Salazar. He's this George Washington looking creature, and he looks really old, but he says that he's only 20 years old. Eventually you meet up with Lewis again, saying that he knows where he can find an antidote, a vaccine for the plague that's inside of Leon. So anyways, you travel for the castle going for all this stuff. Eventually Ashley gets kidnapped, or technically she gets, like, the plague starts to affect Ashley, and then she like runs away from Leon to where she ends up one of those trap walls. Chains her up, the wall turns around, blah blah blah. So you're on your own for a while. Eventually you meet up with Ada again, and so Leon and Ada have like their Matrix like battle, and Leon says to, like, never bring a gun to a knife fight, because knife involves with close combat and things like that. And then anyways, Ada leaves after Leon discovers that she's working for Wesker, and then so you continue for the castle. You get to a point where Lewis meets up to you, and he has the vaccine, but Sadler kills Lewis, and he ends up dropping the vaccine. And then with him dead, it technically, it wasn't really a vaccine, but it's like pills that, calm it down. And so then Leon discovers in the same room, he finds Ashley. So after saving Ashley and getting to play as Ashley for like 5 minutes in the game, you end up reuniting with her, and then you continue a little bit further. Eventually, again, Ashley gets kidnapped, and then you keep on going through the castle till you get to the point where you fight Salazar, and then when you're fighting Salazar, but before the fight, Salazar tells Leon that that his men has taken Ashley to the island.